Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with Flosstube number 12. I just wanted to, I have a few notes. I have the dogs in here with me. I had a commenter say that she wanted to meet Maya and Molly. And I guess, I don't know if you guys just heard one of them bark, because I have them in here in the room with me and they want to go be with their daddy because he's eating a snack right now. So they're not happy about being in here. So let me see if I can grab them real quick and I'll introduce you to my two puppies. Hold on. Come here, Mama. Come here, Bubba. Come here. This is Maya. She is my 9-year-old Maltese Yorkie mix, and she is the sweet cuddler. She loves to play ball and just cuddle with you, and she doesn't know how to hold her liquor. She loves to just lick on you. So this is her. Come here, Mama. Come here. Come here, let Mommy show you. Come here, say hi to the people. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, Mama. Come here. Come here. Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you getting scared? Come here. Just gonna pick you up. Come here. And this is the high-strung Molly. Whoops. And she is 6. And she is a little handful. This one. She is the one that it will, oh, Sissy said something. What's going on? Can you say hi to the people? So this is Molly. She's the younger one. And these are my two fur babies. And let me go ahead and let them out of here because they really want to be with their daddy right now because he's eating a snack. So just a second. All right, girls, come on. Let's go. All righty. Go back to daddy. All right, come on. Alrighty. Sorry about that. I knew it wasn't going to be a good time to bring them in here, but I had somebody ask and I told her that I would introduce them on my next video. So usually he's working, but I am filming a little later today. I had so many things I had to get done, and then the next thing I knew, it was time. He was coming home from work. He actually had to go into the office today. And he said he was going to pick dinner up on the way home. And of course I said, oh, absolutely. Sounds good to me. If I don't have to cook, I'm all for that. So we finished dinner and cleaned up and all that. So it is now 7 p.m. So it's getting a little later. It's actually getting dark out. It was cloudy today. So I do have my outlight turned on, and I'm hoping that this gives good lighting for you guys to be able to see. And the next thing that I wanted to go over is I had a bunch of comments from followers, and I wanted to go ahead and address some of the comments. I get a lot of comments asking me where I purchase my fabric. A lot of the people who watch my channel want to work with Ada, and they see all of the different colors that I have, a lot of Picture This Plus and things like that. And I don't have a local needlework shop here in Fredericksburg, and so I have to order online, and I usually place my orders with 1-2-3 Stitch. I don't get any money from them or anything like that. In fact, they get my money. So, but they're easy to order through. They seem to have, usually have some Picture This Plus and different Ada fabrics and even weaves, and of course linens in stock normally. I know it's been harder during the last couple of years, the last year or so. But they also have a flat rate shipping fee of $3.49 for US, and I think it's $4, maybe 79 cents, $4.79 for international, and that would be Australia and Europe, mostly, and Canada. So I purchase from them, and when I do purchase, like if I need some threads or a fabric, I go ahead and throw a couple of charts in there just to, you know, it's only $3.49, but I'll add to my order, and they're pretty good about getting it. It was a little slow during the height of COVID, but it's gotten better. I usually can get my order within the week from them. So usually they're who I order with. I do order with Everything Cross Stitch. Garon Stitchery has things. So a lot of mine are online orders. I have ordered a piece of fabric off of an Etsy shop before, and that was no problem. So I shop online usually, and those are places that mostly, I'd say more than half of my fabric has come from 1-2-3 Stitch. Another question that I was asked, if I would give tips on variegated floss. My previous 2 videos ago, I did a Flosstube extra a few days back, about 6 days ago, that went over some basics of cross stitch and some tips. And I did not show anything about variegated floss. So a variegated floss would be something like an overdyed that has a definite color variation through the thread. And I have some examples to show you of some stitches that I have done with variegated floss and how I work with it. One of the tips that I have is when you're taking it off of your skein, I had showed in the tips, I usually work with 2 threads, almost always, because I usually am stitching on either a 16 or 18 count Aida or a 28 or 32 count even weave. And so I use 2 threads when I do my stitching. It gives me nice coverage. So if it's not variegated floss, I use a loop start method. If it is variegated floss, I can't do the loop start because I take 2 pieces of thread. When I've cut my thread, let me see if I have a piece I can show you real quick. I don't want to take too long in case this doesn't interest some people. But if one of the things that I was working on was Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers, and it looks like this. And I'm doing this with a variegated thread, a DMC variegated. So I am using this purple variegated thread for this project. Let me see if I have some already off of the skein. I'm not sure if I do. Go quick in this bag. No. If I were to take it, if I were going to start and want to thread my needle with a variegated floss, instead of doing the loop start, I would take and cut a length of thread, but not as long as when I want to do the loop start. Usually on a loop start, I'll take like a good size piece, that's maybe 24-30 inches long, and then double it up and thread my needle. But with a variegated, I want to take 2 separate pieces, and I want to put them on the needle just like I took them off of the skein. Because if you look close at your thread, like this one will start with a darker purple, and it'll slowly work its way to lighter purple. I don't know if you can see that, but now the thread has moved its way to a lighter purple. So if I were to take and do the loop start method and take this long piece and loop it, I would be putting the light thread and the dark thread together and stitching that way. And I don't want to do that because I want to keep my variegation. If you're wanting to keep your variegation in your variegated threads, you don't want to do that. You can, but if you want to keep the variegation, I would not advise to do that. Instead, take a length of thread, half of what you would normally do to double it and do the loop start. Take 2 pieces. So if you're going to take 2 pieces, I would take this one and then another one, and I would grab both ends. I would match them up where it's the darker started, whatever the variegation is running through here, and thread both of those through my needle. I wouldn't take the bottom side of one and the top of another and put them together and do it that way. That way you're keeping your thread the same variegation all the way through your stitching. So you take 2 threads, thread your needle, and then you could either do the pin start, or you can, that I had showed in my video, or you can, if you have some threads already, you could run it under and start it that way, but you can't do the loop start, okay? Because you're gonna have 2 separate threads. I hope that makes sense. And that way you keep the variegation in your project. This one is Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler, and I'm using this variegated purple DMC color. This one is color 92. And this is just a 16 count off-white Ada that I'm working on. It's just a piece I picked up at Hobby Lobby, I believe. So if you're wanting to keep this variegation running through here, that's how I've done that. I've used two threads, kept them the same off of this, just as they come off the skein, and then work with them that way. And also, tip number 2 with working with variegated is instead of going and doing half of the stitch all the way down and then coming back up and finishing the stitch, you want to complete each stitch, each X, as you're going along. Because you're like on this thread right here, it's starting out dark purple and then it's working its way to a lighter purple. You're going to want your darker stitches to stay all together in both legs of your X. So I hope that makes sense. So those are tips for using variegated. Those are the only tips that I know of. If there's anybody that knows any more, please leave comments below to help other people out. Even me, maybe I'll learn something new. But that's what I do when I'm working with a variegated. I've worked with a variegated silk by Silks for You on my ink circles Cercle de Crow, and that looks like this. Is what I've been stitching so far. This isn't a whip for this week, but this is just showing you another variegated with a silk. So that silk runs through purples and blues, and in order to keep it all purple or all blue in areas, I have done those two things. I've completed my X's and I make sure that I'm taking 2 threads on the same part of the skein and putting them together on my needle, because this floss runs from purples to kind of aqua to blue. So this is what this thread looks like. And this is, I got a whole hank of this Silks for You, and I'm working, this is about, I took half of the hank and put it in my project bag. But you can see, so if I were gonna start, I'd want my thread to be the exact same going into my needle all the way through, okay? So, and I don't double it over, because then you're gonna have the blue mixed with the purple. So that's if you have any more questions, then ask me. If I didn't clarify enough, you can ask me in the comments below and I'll try to clarify more, but I'm hoping that that's, like I've said before, clearer than mud. So I try my best to explain, and I know I don't always do the greatest job, because I am going to tell you a disclaimer. When I did my tutorial, my basics of cross stitch tutorial, I had somebody comment, and she was correct. She was correcting me, and she said that I was being confusing because I was calling a quarter stitch a half stitch when I was trying to explain fractional stitches. And my disclaimer is I am not a professional. These are just tips that I have learned along the way, and the reason I did the tutorial is I've been asked by several people in my comments through the videos that I've put up so far, you know, how do you keep your stitching so neat? How are your back, you know, how do you keep your backs neat? How do you do this? How do you do that? And so I know that there are a lot of people starting out stitching out there, and I was one years ago. And if somebody had come and just showed me some basics, it would have really helped and saved me from having projects that I wasn't quite happy with, or things I could have done better, or things that would have been easier to know. I don't know the terminology. In fact, the terminology that's out there in Flosstube land, I have just picked up in the past year myself. Things like FFOs and FOs and whips and LNSs and frogging. I was like, what is all of that? When I just stitched on my own, it wasn't called frogging. It was like, oh man, I made a mistake. I need to take all these stitches out. But I didn't call it frogging. I didn't know what an ort was. It was like, what in the world is an ort? You know? In fact, I have an ort jar that I'm keeping all my, and those are old raggedy threads is what I looked up the terminology. But I put my orts, my old raggedy threads in this, this sits by my stitchy spot, and I put all of my orts in this jar. So I don't know all the terminology. I am not a professional. I didn't go to any kind of classes or school or anything like that to learn the stitching. I just picked it up on my own. And I just wanted to kind of share some tips and hints with people that are just getting started. And so that's my disclaimer. I am not a professional. I am not the end all be all in anything. I just know what works for me. And I also have learned things, and I still learn things. Like in a couple of the comments, I learned a couple of new things, and that was awesome. And that's great. And I'm happy to. So but I want to show you, when I was telling you about things I've learned, people ask me how my backs are so neat, and I say I don't do a lot of carryover. I don't carry my threads across my stitching too far. I might go 2-3 spaces, but I don't go farther than that. If I go a little ways, I might bury my stitches underneath some other stitches so that I don't have to keep ending and starting threads if it's fairly close, if it's within, like, 5 or 8 stitches from where I'm stitching. So I wanted to show you. I had showed this one in my fall extravaganza. I had showed this scarecrow piece. And this is something that I was stitching on back in the 90s. And I want to show you the back. I was looking at the back of this the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to show people when I carried 20 years ago. If you can look at all of this carrying that I was doing in this piece. So this is where I would probably bury my threads underneath. Instead of carrying it that far, I would buried it under those few, stitch those couple of, and buried it a little bit. So I wouldn't have to stop and start if I was, kind of lazy there and didn't want to. But my goodness, I was carrying. All of these are loose threads that are carried. That's carried, that's carried. So I was just carrying all, I didn't cut my threads at all. I just went from here to here because I didn't know how to do the pin stitch back then. If I had known how to do the pin stitch, instead of starting my thread way over here and then start stitching over here, I would have just done a pin stitch right here and then just went on. But I learned. So I'm still a work in progress on my stitching journey, and I just wanted to share some tips with people, and you can see that, even I carried back in the day in my beginning stitches. So I thought that was funny when I saw the back of that. I said, oh my God, gosh. I carried my threads 20 years ago. And then I learned the pin stitch and stopped carrying, or I learned to bury my threads. Sometimes you don't want to go too far with lengths of threads, just because in finishing, if for some reason your thread is too short and your piece is going to be stretched to frame it or finish it, sometimes that thread then is not long enough because maybe you didn't have your piece stretched, especially if you're stitching in hand. So that's just something to be aware of. I was told that one time. I did have it might have been when I had either Lady of the Flag or the Firefly Fairies. These are the only 2 pieces that I've ever had professionally framed. Other things I framed myself. The framer told me, on one of these pieces, I think I was carrying some of my thread, and he said, don't do that. So, I learned. Let me see, what other things I think that was all on comments. So now I want to go to my winners for my giveaway on Flosstube number 11. I had stated that I had finished a couple of my projects, which I want to show you. I have two FFOs, which mean fully finished objects. I have fully finished them. I have framed them and done them up. But I was giving away these 2 patterns. And I asked people to say Halloween if they wanted to win the Jardin Privé's ABC Halloween. And Spice if they wanted to win the Pumpkin Spice Chart by Shannon Christine Designs. After I posted that video, I did have somebody contact me and say that they did not agree with passing the stash. Because it takes away from the designers, because that causes them to lose a potential sale. So I thought about that comment, and I mean, the lady, she worded it very, very nicely. And she wasn't attacking me at all. She was just stating the fact that she could not support my channel because she did not believe in passing the stash. So I thought about it, and I realized that it's probably not such a good idea to do that. So what I did, I had to think about it. I was thinking about it for a few days because I thought, well, what am I going to do? I've already promised those 2 pieces to people, and I didn't want to renege on a promise. And so what I did was I went and I ordered them. I went to 1-2-3 Stitch and I reordered both of these patterns. These are brand new. I was going to pull out my copies, my used copies, and show you guys that these are extra patterns. But I don't know what I did with them. I don't see them here. But these are new. These are never been used. I ordered these brand new off the website. I went ahead and paid for them again so that I could, in good conscience, give these patterns away. So the designer did make the money off of these because it does say on the back of this one, photocopying, scanning, and sharing are prohibited. And that is in wording on the back of Jardin Privé's piece. And I would take it, sharing means, you know, passing it on to somebody else to stitch. So I try to be a woman of integrity, and I don't ever want to do anything that's going to cheat anybody, scam anybody. I try not to lie or be deceiving in any way. I always try to be, you know, I'm going to be upfront with you guys. So I ordered these 2 patterns so I could do the giveaway. So in the future, if I'm going to give away a pattern, it's going to be because either I ordered an extra, I was given a pattern somehow by somebody that I'm not going to stitch, or I have patterns in my stash that I'm not going to stitch, or the pattern has gone out of print and you can no longer purchase the pattern. Those will be the only ways that I will give out patterns in the future. Oh, here they are. Okay, so these are the ones these were the ones that I was using. These are the ones that I purchased. So I repurchased Pumpkin Spice and ABC Halloween to give away brand new copies for you guys. And I'll just keep these in my stash and decide, you know, what I'll do with them. I don't know if I'll ever stitch them again. But I originally thought, well, I'm not going to use them again, and they're just going to sit in the closet or get thrown in the trash, so I might as well just pass them on to somebody. But after reading what was on the back of the Jardin Privé's piece, it says right there, you know, not to share. So if I were a creator, I would be feeling, you know, and if we did that a lot, if they only sold 20 patterns because it was getting passed around, and 100 people could stitch off of 20 patterns, they'd be losing quite a bit of income. So I just, I went ahead and purchased 2 more. So let me get on with the giveaway. Let me stop rambling. And let me see. I have the YouTube comment picker pulled up on my phone. So let me start out with the Halloween pattern. So let me put the word Halloween into the random comment picker. And it came up with 46 unique comments stating the word Halloween. So I'm going to push start. And it is Sharon Hendricks. So Sharon Hendricks, you have won the ABC Halloween from Jardin Privé. Please contact me. I will comment on your comment, and my email will be listed in the description box. And if you could get back to me, if you could email me with your address so that I could ship this off to you, I'd appreciate it. And if you could do that within the next couple of weeks before my next video so that I can get that sent out. So let me write your name on that one. Sharon Hendricks. congratulations, you've won the Halloween ABC. And then the other one was for the pumpkin spice chart. And let me put in, that was for the word spice. Take Halloween out of there, put spice in, and get the comments. There were 51 unique comments with the word spice. So I'm going to hit start. And it is, looks like Teresa Harper. So yeah, Teresa Harper, you have won the pumpkin spice from Shannon Christine. So let me write that down, because if I don't write it down, here's my piece of paper, I will completely forget who won. Same thing, if you contact me, send me an email with your address so I can get that shipped out to you. Okay, and congratulations again. And I'm still looking forward to doing giveaways. I do have charts that I have. I have a couple that I accidentally ordered 2 of. I think I have, and then I had some charts I was given in a giveaway from StitchCon that I might not be stitching and things like that. So I will have charts in the future to give away. So don't despair on that. And I have other giveaways in mind too. So in the future. So congratulations to you 2 ladies. I look forward to getting those shipped out to you. So the next thing that I have going on, also you need to be over 18 so you can give me your address. Just wanted to make sure and clarify that. You have to be over 18 years of age in order for me to get your address and ship that those 2 charts to you, which I don't think that's a problem. So now I had mentioned I had 2 finishes, and those were on those 2 charts. So the first finish I'm going to show you is the Jardin Privé's ABC Halloween. I had showed you it finished, but now I have fully finished it, and I'm so excited. I just put this in a black frame, and this one was stitched with that opalescent color Lemongrass by Mystic Fibers that I was gifted at StitchCon. Oh, that's real true to color, and I'm hoping you can it's picking up the sparkles. Really pretty piece of fabric. So what I had done was mounted this on a piece of sticky board, but the sticky board wasn't that sticky, so I ended up using some Aleene's tacky spray in a can. Took it out in the yard, the tacky board, and I sprayed it, and then I put a piece of quilt batting under it, some Warm and Natural, some natural colored quilt batting, and then I pinned this piece over top of it. So that is my ABC Halloween. So this one will be out next month in October, in just a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. So I did finish that one. The other one that I have finished, I have back here, and that is the pumpkin spice. And I did this one a little bit different. And what I had done was I had this, it's kind of almost like a shadow box frame. And I think I had purchased this probably at Hobby Lobby, because it says the spring, I think it's one of their products. I took and I put a green piece of material on a piece of sticky board. And there again, I had to spray it with the tacky spray, the Aleene's tacky spray that comes in an aerosol can, and stick that down, and then glued the fabric onto the back. Use some double-sided tape I have. And then I had stuck this on with some Warm and Natural batting, the pumpkin spice, and I had I just used a hot glue gun, and I glued this orange pom-pom trim around the piece. And then I had made this kind of rag bow. I just picked a bunch of ribbons and made a bow, just kind of a little bow. And I had used a button maker, a fabric cover button little thing, to actually take a piece of this material and put it over this this fabric button. And I'm not gonna lie, that's not my idea. I was watching Annie, the Proper Stitcher, where she always says, that it's better to have a finished piece that you can display than pieces that sit in a drawer. So don't be afraid to finish off your pieces. So I'm looking, and my pom-pom looks a little wonky a little bit, you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, I still love it. I really do. And then I just took a bunch of different yarn, and I had tied this. This is kind of wiry, little berry looking things that I had found at Joann's. Came on a spool, and I just took a length of that, wrapped it around the middle of my ribbons. I just cut some ribbons to about, I don't know, about an 8-inch length, cinched it in the middle, wrapped that this wiring around it, covered a button with the same material so that it would coordinate, and then hot glued it onto my frame up there. So, and then this can just stand because it's thick enough to just stand on my, it's going to go on my buffet in my dining room for the fall. So I'm excited about this piece. And I have it just sitting back here with all these pumpkins and things back here. So really loving that piece. And I wanted to show you the button cover thing. Was just this. I picked this up at Joann's in the sewing area where all the sewing notions and things are. And this is what it was. It was by Dritz. It's just a craft cover button kit. So it comes with all of the things to make it and a couple of instructions. It's easy, very easy. Comes with a little template that you use to cut your piece of material. And then it comes with the little, this is a kind of a little silicone piece that your little button's going to fit down in. So you stick your material in there, push your button cover down in there, and then you sandwich your bottom of your button cover over it to kind of close it. You know, you just gather all your material in. So you have a button top. Whoops, let me see, those are both shanks. You have a button top. So you just have a little button top, little metal, it's like aluminum. It's real lightweight. So you would just, after you've cut out your material, you stick your material down in there, then you push this button cover down on it. And then you take your button shank piece. This one has a shank. It came with some with shanks, which is the little thing you use the attach buttons, and some that didn't come with shanks. In fact, that's stuck down inside a button cover. So then you just push that and you sandwich your material in between, and it comes with a little pusher, just this little plastic piece. You just push it together, snap it together, and you have a covered button. Easy. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm telling you, I like easy. I can do it. So, in fact, that was probably the easiest thing to make in my bow, because I had to decide all the different bow with ribbons that I wanted to use. So, and how I was going to put it together. But once I got it all figured out, I just covered that button with the piece of material I used so it would match, and voila, it's finished. So there you go. So happy with that finish also. So that one's gonna, after my video, that's probably gonna go upstairs and sit on the buffet since it is, tomorrow is the first day of fall. So happy fall, y'all. This is my favorite time of year. I've got my fall candle going. I can just smell that nice fall scent. This one's called Falling Leaves. I think if it's not a Bath and Body Works, it might be a just one that from Sonoma, from Kohl's, that I purchased. Love the smell of the fall candles. It's just so cozy to me. So now we're getting into my favorite season, and I'm so excited. Now I'll move on to whips. And I did work on, again, probably about 9 pieces. I guess that's going to be a trend for me in a couple of weeks, that I work on 8 or 9 pieces normally. So the first one I'm going to show you, I actually didn't get too much work done on, was another Shannon Christine design. And I had showed this to you before, and this was Trick or Treat by Shannon Christine. And I had already had this top part done, the whole border done. And I had showed this in my fall video, so I'm just going to show it really quick. My fall extravaganza, I had already showed it because I haven't done any more on it. I just came in and I did this kind of gingham ribbon looking thing down here. and started on the little witch costume, the little trick-or-treater that's dressed like a witch, her little costume. So I only just worked on that. So I still gotta do all of this. And I was working on it, and I had cut my piece small. This was just a remnant piece, so I don't have enough space to snap this onto a Q-snap, really. And I was trying to stitch it in hand, and this is a piece of Aida. This is a piece of 16 count dirty Aida that this is being stitched on. And actually it's loosening up more because I've used it some, I've worked on it, but it is a stiffer Aida. And I'm not much of a in-hand stitcher, it's harder. It's just not the way I normally do. In the past I always used a hoop, and now I usually use a Q-snap or a scroll frame. So it was hard for me to work on this, but then I figured, what if I put it in a little 8x8 Q-snap and I just snap the top and the bottom, so at least it's braced, and then maybe I can work on it that way. And I was stitching a little bit. That's how I got the little witch costume done. And so let me show you that up close. So that is this piece. And I love how it's coming out. I just wasn't enjoying stitching on it because I was having a hard time with that. So there were some other pieces I preferred to work on because, you know, this is the land of new starts and whips here. So I had plenty of other things to choose, so I did. So I moved on, and I was working on another piece that I had showed in my fall extravaganza video, and that is Gigi by Nora Corbett. She's one of the Bewitching Pixies from Nora Corbett, and I had she was actually a restart because I had originally done her on Milk Chocolate Aida, and I decided that I wanted her on this fabric Flare 16 count Aida by Fabric Flare in some kind of a gray. I can't remember. It didn't say on it, and I don't have any more information still with this material, because originally I was using this for a Christmas piece, and then it just looked too moody, dusky, Halloweeny look to me for a Christmas piece. So I went ahead and I saved the rest of that piece of material, and I've cut it up to use it for my Nora Corbett Bewitching Pixies. So that's how far I got on her in these last couple of weeks. So I was working on her this since I last checked in with you guys. I had her, and she's using the called for DMCs and all of the beads and everything for her. And like I said, this is 16 count Aida by Fabric Flare. Let me set that down out of the way. This next piece is another fall piece, and I had showed it in the fall extravaganza. So if you've seen that, this isn't going to be new to you. But this is my Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. So let me just go ahead in case you didn't catch that video. So this is what this one looks like. I'm going to take it out of the plastic and just try not to have a glare. I was working on this square up here, and when I showed it to you on my Flosstube number 11, I had the border square done, and I just had a few little lines that I said look like a graph chart to me. And I went and I finished filling in. Let me see if I can fold this up better to show you guys. I finished filling in all of the tombstones down here in this grassy area. See, I just had a few of these orange lines done before, and I started on the building also. So that's how far I was able to get on this one. I worked on this, I was filling in the grass. I had outlined all the grass. I'd already done the tombstones and this little snake that's kind of working his way through this cemetery. I had done that part, and just needed to fill in all of this yellow kind of gold color here. And I did that I did a lot of it during a Zoom meeting that Pam, she has a Flosstube channel. It's called Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. She hosts Hawk Run Hollow Zoom meetings. I think it's twice a month, and she's going to have one this Thursday. So if you contact her, you go to her, her Flosstube channel, Stitching in the Land of Good Enough, and she, you request to be added, you fill out the form she has in her description box to be added to that list, and she sends out an email every time right before the Zoom meeting, like that day or the day before, with a link to get into the Zoom. So if you're interested, if you're working on Hawk Run Hollow pieces and you're interested in joining along in a Zoom, I suggest checking that out. And that's where I was stitching some on this one. I am stitching this one on I'll drop in my bag. Got it in my lap. Should know better. I'm stitching this one on a 16 count Ada in the color J, J-A-Y. And that's by Picture This Plus. And I have quite a big piece because this one's going to be, that's just one block of 12 that I'm working on right now. So that's going to actually be quite large when it's all said and done. Because I need to get 4 of these across and 3 down. So it's going to be quite large piece. So, and like I was showing you carrying over before, I don't carry over like that anymore. This is, you know, kind of what my backs look like now. Not all that carrying over like I was doing before. So that's that piece. Let me just set this one aside. And the next one is a piece. Well, actually, Gigi, the reason I restarted Gigi is she was on my Whipco board. And she was on there to work 10 hours on. And I pulled out my old Whipco board that I've shown before. And I thought, let me see, what were the numbers called for September? And they were 15 and 25. Well, 15 is Gigi. And so it was to work 10 hours on her. So I did. And that's how far I was able to get on her in 10 hours. And the other piece was the First Thanksgiving, was number 25 that was called this month. And that again was to work 10 hours on this one this month. And the First Thanksgiving by Twin Peak Primitives. So I pulled it out and I did not get the 10 hours yet. I've worked about 6 hours on it so far. But this is what it looks like. And I am working up here in this section up here of this pattern. And I am stitching this one on a 16 count Dirty Ada. And I am using most of the called fors. I think I had to sub in some. I have had to sub in colors because I can't get everything in always if it's calling for overdyes. And I end up subbing colors in. And when I do that, I copied my chart. It does have DMZs, but I had switched out a couple of the colors here. So I will do that. And I put these yellow lines because it was so long to see from the symbol all the way over to the color. And I didn't want to read this symbol as this one down here. So I just graphed it. Every other one highlighted so that my eye could follow it a little bit easier. So that was my, that's my rhyme and reason to that. And this is how far I am on First Thanksgiving. Like I said, this is 16 count Dirty Ada. So I'm over here in the 6 hours that I've worked on it so far. I extended this over farther. I don't think I only had a little bit of this done here. And also worked on this bunting across to here. I think I only had it up to this star. So I worked on it. I'm still not quite finished. And I worked on this bird. All he had before were his little legs. So I did do his tail and his body. He needs a beak. But that's as far as I was able to get this last couple of weeks, working about 6 hours on this one. So I want to try to get the other 4 hours in, hopefully, and meet that Whipco goal this month. That would be awesome if I could do that. My next whip is also by Twin Peak Primitives, and it's my stitch-along piece that I've been working on. And I've been working on it on Sundays. I call it my Sunday stitch. for my stitch along, and this is a stitch along I'm doing for my channel. It's also on my Facebook group. We'll link my Facebook group below in the description box, and you can join that. You can join along with the stitch along. It is a Twin Peak Primitives stitch along. So it's any Twin Peak Primitives, and the one that I'm working on is One Nation Under God. So that one looks like this. And I have been working up here in this area. So I picked it up in the last couple of Sundays that I've worked on it. I might have to put this on the board so I can, so kind of a big piece, and I want to make sure that I'm not dropping it all over the place and stuff. So hold on for a second, and we'll get this out, and I'm going to see if I can be professional. We'll see. If you've been watching my channel, you know that's definitely not me. But here we go. So this is One Nation Under God. And these last 2 Sundays I worked and I did this urn, this flower pot urn thing. And these 2 flowers is what I was able to get in. I did these 2 flowers one Sunday, or I think I still had a little bit of finishing on one flower, and I did the urn this Sunday. These flowers were taking me forever. Don't you like my, like I said, professional hair clips? To hold it on there. Whatever works. But anyways, these flowers here were on a part of the pattern that was split on a couple of different pages. So this is kind of in booklet form. And so I would stitch the few that are on the one page, and then I'd flip over 3 pages to the other part that was on the upper part of the page and stitch those, and then I'd have to flip back and stitch some more and then flip the other way. And so it was taking me a while because I was also making sure that I was lining up. I didn't want my flower to come out all wonky. I have had some designers that put, and I wish all designers would do this, and this would be awesome, is if they have a pattern that comes in multiple pages, if they would do one page that had the whole thing, even if it was just smaller, because you maybe even can blow it up on your printer or whatever if you needed to, or look at it with magnifiers. But then you could see the placement and the alignment better than flipping from page to page. And I have done in the past where I've copied them and I've taped them together and stuff like that. But I was trying not to do that on this one. I didn't feel like having to go print it off and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But so it was taking me a little longer to get those flowers done. And honestly, that Sunday I was kind of busy, so I didn't get as much stitching time as I would have liked. But, you know, that's life. But I did see there was progress on that piece. So that's good. As long as it continually moves forward, that's, you know, like I said, I've said before, there's no end date to the stitch along. Stitch at your own pace, start when you want, end when you want, things like that. So the next whip that I have, I'm doing some of the pieces that I'm doing are Sampler September pieces. So I pulled out some of my samplers that I haven't worked on in a while. And this one is by Stacy Nash Primitives, and this one is called Hanging of the Greens. It's kind of hard to see that picture, it's a little faded, but that is Stacy Nash Primitives Hanging of the Greens, or Gathering of the Greens, I'm sorry, Gathering of the Greens. I think I wrote Hanging of the Greens on my project sheet. Need to fix that. And I had already worked on it some, and this one is being stitched on 16 count Ada in the colorway Heritage, and I am not using the called for because when I wanted to start this, I did not have most of the colors that they were asking for, so I picked out. There goes something on the floor again. Oh, people. Okay. I picked out, it didn't have a whole lot of colors. It had this gold color, and I picked some of my, at the time I had some Victorian mottos that I could choose from and some DMCs. I think that was pretty much it. Oh, and I have one Classic Colorworks, which is Cocoa Bean. So I just went in and I think Cocoa Bean was the only one that I was able to get or had that was called for. And the rest of these, and then there's 3 DMCs, but all the rest of these are these few are Victorian motto colors. These pinks and greens and this gold. So I just subbed those in and did my own conversion. But like I said, this one's being stitched on 16 count Aida in the color Heritage, which has a little bit of a greenish hue to it. And I had already had the alphabet, this little bit of border and these lines done. And I had already had the roof done, the chimney done, the windows, the center window here with the wreath around it, all of the windows, the door, and the door awning, the portico over the door. I had all of that done. And I had even come in and I had done the border around the house because it has a white border that's going around there. I went ahead and did all of those, all of that stitching. And I had all that stitched in before I went to StitchCon. And I took this with me because I thought I could just go in and fill in. This house is getting filled in with this gold color, which is Quality Brass by Victorian Motto. So I thought, well, that's easy stitching while you're sitting there talking to people. It's just to fill in. And so I took it, but I didn't work on it at all. So when I picked it up this time, I had already filled in maybe about this much, like this side of the yellow part of the house up to the windows. So over these last couple of weeks, I worked on it a couple of days and I filled in that much more of the yellow. So I'm doing construction on this house. So I've still got quite a bit more to fill in. It's a good size house. And then do the other chimney, and there's some color, I think it's the white color goes in between the yellow and the chimney. But I'm loving this. I love this fabric. It's a softer Aida than some. These overdyes can be. And I'm working on this one and enjoying it. And I'm hoping to maybe I'll be able to pick it up over the next couple of weeks and finish filling in that house. So we'll see. But I worked on it, oh, like I said, maybe 2 days over the last couple of weeks. And actually this past week. And I was able to get that far on my house. But here again, you see how my threads are long? These long ones are the DMCs, which are just a straight, they're not overdyed, they don't have variegation in them. So when I have the overdyed threads, I use long pieces because I'm taking and doing the loop start. I'm taking one thread and doubling it over. But for my overdyeds, like the gold, I need to cut this other one because I didn't cut it short enough. But I've cut them shorter because I'm not, and this doesn't have a lot of variegation in it really. But I'm going ahead and I'm doing 2 threads, 2 separate threads, and I'm stitching 1x at a time with this variegated. But some of these do have some variegation in it. This, let me see if I can show you. I know this one does. I don't know if it's picking up. Can you see the lighter and darker? It's kind of a dusty rose color. And this one has a little bit of variegation in it. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but so when it has, definitely when it has variegation, I definitely try to, do that technique. So that's where I got on that one. And then this next one, I'm doing some more construction on a house. And this one is another sampler that I picked up and I worked on maybe about 3 days to finish this. Come out. The Blue Flower, this is Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. And I had already had this part of the Huckleberry branch, this scene here finished. And I had started on the house when I last showed it to you guys. This one is being stitched on a 16 count Aida in the colorway Glacier. And I love this color. And I don't know if I'm using all the called for on this one. So I was doing construction on that house, and here, this one, I was working on 2 yellow houses this week. So this is how far I was able to get. I actually finished this house. When I showed it to you guys before, I had the bottom part of the house done. I had this gray down here, the steps, and I had, I think, just this bottom section finished, but that the yellow wasn't filled in. So I had to fill in the yellow down here and then stitch all the rest of this house. And that's what I've done so far on Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. And I love this piece. It is just so pretty. What I like about the Blue Flower a lot of times is she adds a lot of animals and birds and things into her pieces. This one has a chipmunk, it has bears, it has a, is that a sloth? I think it's a sloth. No, it's a bear. It's a bear being lazy, a bear laying here. There's a bear there with a bird on it. It has a chipmunk over here. You can see that. Another bear and a bird, and there's birds in the branches, and there's a bear up here and a bear over here and a bee with a hive with a bee skip. So just so cute. I mean, it just has everything I love in it. So that's how far I was able to get on that. So like I said, I was doing construction on 2 houses this week. Busy beaver I was. Then I had a new start. I had, let me pull this over closer. Showed you guys, I think it was in my last, on Flosstube 11, that I showed you that I had ordered this by the Sampler Cove, and it's our anniversary, and it's done in red. And I said that I don't have a red work sampler yet, and I wanted to do this one in red, and I wanted to do it for my husband and mine and my husband's 10th anniversary, which is not for over 2 more years. So I figure I got at least 2 years to get this finished, probably about 2.5 years. It'd be June of 2024 when we celebrate our 10th anniversary, and I'd like to have it finished by then. So I thought with me, because I'm in the land of whips, and I wanted to go ahead and get a start on it. Well, I had a commenter, and I think it was Sheila, that said, why don't you make that your 30 minutes a day piece and work on it every day and just knock it out slowly, and through the next couple of years. And I thought that is a good idea. So I started on that. I started doing that, and picked it up, and I worked on it because in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee, I might have like an hour I can sit and stitch and drink my coffee, and I just kind of, it's just a nice time of the day that I can maybe work on that most days. So I did that a couple of the days, and I picked it up, and I'm working on this on an even weave, 32 count limestone even weave. And that's how far I was able to get. And so it's just a very little start in the corner to this long, big piece, because all I did was get this little bit up here in the corner done. So I still got all of this to do, but I've got 2.5 years to get that done. Then what I did is I decided I had showed you guys before that I was gonna do it all in this anchor thread, and I had bought 3 big spools of 0047, this color red. And then the more I looked at the pattern, I changed my mind a little bit. There's 3 different colors, 3 different reds in this piece, and I forgot what the thread is they call for. It's some other kind of brand of thread I've never heard of. This company is out of Thailand that made this chart. So I went, and they have 3 different symbols on their chart. And so I went ahead and decided which color I'm going to use of anchor reds to work on this chart. And I just wrote it down so that I can keep track. So I picked 2 other reds, one darker, one medium, and the original color I had is going to be the lightest. So I picked which symbol I'm going to use for each of these, and these are going to be the 3 reds that I use in this project. So far I've only used this one, and that's what this one looks like on my fabric so far. And I'm really enjoying this this stitch. It's going to take me a long time, so I'll just keep plugging away at it. So we'll see. But I switched and I started working on something else for my morning stitch this week because I had another new start. My name is Vicky and I have a problem with new starts. I just do. But you know what? I don't consider it a problem because I love each and everything I start. So stitch what you love, and that's what I do, evidently. So this next piece is, you've seen a lot, I'm sure, if you watch Flosstube. A lot of people are doing this. It's on Instagram, and I kept seeing it, and I knew it was coming out, and I saw it, and I thought, well, that's pretty. But nah, I don't need another big piece, and I don't know about doing a stitch along that's time, comes out every month, and you get a new installment. And I don't know if I'd feel pressured in like, oh, I didn't get last month's finished yet. And, but I kept seeing it, and I kept seeing all the different colorways that people were doing this one in, and they were beautiful. I saw one done on a, I can't remember the lady's name off of Instagram. Her fabric was a color. And then all of her stitches are in black and white. Beautiful. And then just so many different ones. Well, this is Modern Folk Embroidery's 2021 Stitch Along, The Fruits of Plenty. And each month, Jacob with Modern Folk Embroidery puts out a piece. So I've been working on the January section, which is right up in here. And then there's a February, March, and everybody else who's has been stitching along with it all year and has been keeping up, they're down here. They've got this last bit down here left to do. So I've still got a lot of work, but I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Sambry off of Sambry Stitches. Not Sambry. Her name is Becca from Sambry Stitches. Her and somebody else were going to stitch it, and they said instead of calling it a stitch along, I forgot what they were going to call it. Something like start it whenever kind of piece, and that's kind of what I've done. I have just started this in September, and this started in January. So, and this was just my cover sheet for the August piece. But Jacob goes ahead when he does these stitch alongs and he releases a piece a month. He already shows you what the whole piece is going to look like ahead of time. So it's not a mystery stitch along. You already know what it's going to look like, but you don't get the next installment till the first of the month. So the one for October, I believe, is this one right here. So that'll come out, this little section down here in the corner will come out the 1st of October. And then you can print it off or work on it off of your Android or whatever. And use it. It comes off as a PDF. So I'm stitching this one in teal colors. And I'm stitching it on a 16 count Aida, just in an off-white Aida. Comes in a tube that you can buy at most of your department hobby stores like Hobby Lobby, Michael's. And that's how far I was able to get. So I still need to do the whole middle part that has the bird on a basket. Because I'm up here, I'm doing this one, and it's kind of like the square goes out here, so I'm still finishing this little part, and I've still got to fill in the middle of the hexagon there. But that's how far I was able to get. And I'm stitching this with 2 DMC colors, and they are, let me see if I can read it without my glasses. 597 is my light color, and what's the color of this one? The dark color is in 3808. So I have just 2 different colors, 2 tealish colors that I picked from DMC, and that's what I'm using to stitch this piece in. And I have all my extra flosses in just a sandwich bag. Fancy there. And the ones I'm working with are in the floss away bags. And then when I need another one, I'll just pull out of my stash of DMC skeins that I have there. That's as far as I was able to get. I know I'm not going to get this stitched up this year. I might not even get it stitched up next year, but my goal, I want to try to finish this block, this page, this one section, the January release, by the end of the month. So by the next time I check in with you guys in October, I'm hoping to have this one done. That's my goal. That's what I'm going to shoot for. And we'll see if I can do that. So that was my whips. That was everything. That's what I've been up to stitching wise in the last 2 weeks. And I think that is it. So when I ordered those 2 patterns for the giveaway, when I ordered the ABC Halloween and the pumpkin spice patterns, I went ahead and placed, added to my order, because I thought, you know what, if I'm going to order these charts to make good on my word, to do my giveaway, I thought I might as well order a few charts that I've been eyeballing to ride along with them. So one of the ones, I know in my Flosstube 11 video, I was telling you guys that the one Market Expo release that came out was by the Blue Flower, and it was called Moon something. Well, it's Moonlight Sampler, and I've been seeing a lot of people stitching on that one, and they started it or have it, and it was the one piece that really, really, really stood out to me out of all of the ones that I really thought, you know, I do want to get it. And I said, I didn't pre-order it because I don't really need it right now. Evidently, I need it right now. So here it is. This is, and like the Huckleberry Farm piece that I'm stitching on, this one has all of these adorable animals in it. It has opossums, you know, a mama and her babies, has a fox, a skunk, dog up here, a cat, a bunch of bees flying around. This owl is just, I love that owl. You know, it's just, I love it. And it has a beaver and a possum and a bat. So, and a sloth. Here's the, look at him. I think that's a sloth. But, so I got that. I'm not ready to stitch it yet. I don't have any of the threads or the fabric, so I know that's not something I'm going to start anytime soon. I'm kind of contemplating maybe letting that be my birthday start next year. My birthday's not until April, but I don't know. We'll see if I hold off long enough and let that be my birthday start. We'll see. Another thing that I ordered, since I ordered that ABC Halloween from Jardin Privé, another piece that I've been eyeballing from Jardin Privé is the, this one is called Patchwork au Chalet, and it's a owl patchwork. And I love it. I love these owls. Aren't they adorable? That is so cute. And the couple of little hedgehogs down at the bottom, just too cute. So I ordered that. And then I ordered a couple of more of the Cottage Garden, what are these called? The Songbirds Garden series. And I got the number 1. I've somebody that I saw a while back working on this, and she finished it several months back. I can't remember when she finished it, but it was Lori Chicalone with Once Upon a Stitch. And I remember watching her videos as she was stitching this one and watching her progress and thinking that is just really pretty. And then somebody recently that I've been watching that's stitching on this, and then I was like, that's it. I just have to get it. I can't anymore. Oh, what's her name? Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. She's stitching this one. And I think she just recently finished this one. So got that. And the other cottage garden one I got was Peace on Earth. And this one has the cardinal. So love that one. And then I love my Plum Streets. And I picked up from Plum Street Samplers, Turkey Bay. This is another one. Let me show it to you a little more up close. This is another one that, look at the turkeys. Look at the turkeys swimming. Too funny. And this one's sitting way up here. And it looks like he's looking for turkeys and they're all around him. This is just so cute. So cute and so fun for this time of the year. And this is another one that I saw Lori Chicalone from Once Upon a Stitch. She had stitched this one. And I held off and I didn't get it. Well, Lori, if you're watching this, I have it. So, and then I was watching, oh, what's her name? You know, you guys say in comments that I enable you. You're saying, oh, thanks a lot, Vicki. You know, watching your videos, I wrote my list down. I've got more things to add to my wish list and things like that. Thanks you. And I say, you're welcome for the enabling. It's free. Free on my end, not for you guys. But I get highly enabled. So goes around, comes around, I guess, you know. So I was watching... Oh, I can't remember who it was. I want to say Crosshatch Quilts. She was showing her patriotic wall. And she had this one up there. And I've already seen this one. I don't know if Lori also stitched this one. Possibly. Anyways, Liberty's Welcome by Plum Street Samplers. And even though this looks like a small piece, it's actually a good size piece. So is... So are like these. This looks like it's just a small little, no, it stitches up. That flower alone is probably about that big. So these actually end up being quite large pieces. And then, since I had ordered my Moonlight Sampler from the Blue Flower, and I'm already stitching Huckleberry Farm that I love from the Blue Flower, and I've been watching other people stitch Not Walk Down, and I have been watching people for a while. One is EJ off of the Sunshine Stitchers on Flosstube. She's been stitching on this one for a while, and I believe Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough is stitching on this, and there's several others. And when I see their stitch piece, I'm sorry for the glare, people. It's nighttime, so it's dark, and I've got my aught lights on, and I'm trying to, I didn't want to have to rustle around and take things out of the plastic. But this is pretty like this, but when you see it stitched, it is gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just the border alone. When I see people stitching that and the flowers and things, like I think it's Pam. She's done this peacock over here. There's a white peacock. Beautiful. So those were that's my haul. That's heavily enabled by a bunch of different floss tubers. So I want to thank you, ladies. If you're watching, thank you. Bank account doesn't thank you, but I thank you because they're beautiful. So bills are paid, so whatever. As some people say, YOLO, you only live once. Well, I'll have plenty of stitching to keep me busy for quite a long time. So my plans. This video is, I'm looking, it's over an hour, and I've been rambling long enough. So my plans, I've told you, I want to try to finish the block in Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. If you have not heard of Modern Folk Embroidery, Jacob, he has a Flosstube channel. So look him up. Modern Folk Embroidery is his Flosstube channel. His name is Jacob. He's a designer. He does a lot of reproduction samplers. This one's not a reproduction. This is a piece that he designed himself. And he has a website that you can go to and order his patterns. And I think he's in Denmark. I'm not sure. He's over in Europe. Somewhere, I believe, over in the Netherlands. So go check him out. more plans. I'm still doing, wanting to work a little bit more in my Sampler September stuff, working a little bit on, so I want to, you know, maybe start pulling out more of my Halloween pieces that I have. If you watched my fall extravaganza, I haven't touched in a while my Bellatrix, my Sleepy Hollow, my Lila Studio Halloween Quaker. Those are all pieces that I would like to be able to get out and stitch on sometime soon, like in the next, over the rest of this month and in October. So, and then, you know, wherever the wind takes me, I need to come up with an exit phrase. Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching, they say, just keep stitching. Sunshine Stitchers, they say, oh, I forgot what their tag exit is. So I need to come up with one, because I feel like at the end I just ramble and then I go, goodbye, have a good time, happy stitching. So if any of you come up with any good ideas, or if there's anything, you know, so goodbye, farewell from the great state of Virginia. This is Vicki, and I'm signing off, and happy stitching to all you lovely people. Bye.